there's going to be a fear of the co. There's going to be a fear of the co at some point. This is a weird bet, but I think it will happen. But I think it's going to keep growing. This is not something that we really invented. This is not something new. People are doing room rentals years and years and years and years ago, much before the word even was invented, right? And what we did is kind of change the model, made it more attractive for both parties, right? The owners and the users. I think this is just going to keep going and keep growing. It will probably take a big part of the rental air space inside the real estate industry, right?
Christine here with another fun, exciting episode of the Coliving Code Show every single Wednesday on YouTube, on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And if you guys can write us a super quick review, we'd really appreciate it. And I want to give ISL Furnishings a quick shout out. They are a brand created through Inner Space Living, and they are all about creating exciting spaces where design meets function. Interspace parlayed its success in commercial grade unit furniture and conceived an elevated offering. And they believe strongly in the co-living industry, which is really cool. And they already work with some of the larger companies like Star City. ISL Furnishings was founded with the mission to bring your brand to life. Their goal is to revolutionize the unit furniture experience, and they are driven by creativity. They believe that interiors should inspire brilliance. Every venue has its own voice. They exist to clarify that voice, interpret your brand vision, and deliver superior quality on time, every time, even during COVID. We actually interviewed the guys a while back, so you definitely want to check out that interview. This week, we are traveling over to Barcelona, Spain. We interviewed Andreas Sullivan. He is the co-founder and innovation officer over at Enso Co-Living. He is a longtime tech consultant that made the switch to real estate a few years back when he and Michael started discovering the co-living concept. Since then, the Enso team has been one of the main attention grabbers in the co-living space in Spain, the country in which Enso operates for the time being. In less than 6 months as an operator, they have grown their business at a steady pace with a 100% occupancy rate and a great brand. They have already raised $700,000 in a very short time, and they plan to grow exponentially this year. And we did get a little dorky on this episode for those that are into blockchain and cryptocurrencies. He talked about that in depth, how blockchain is going to play such an important role in the future of living. So that's kind of exciting. And yeah, it was just a great, amazing conversation overall. So enjoy. Andreas with Enso is on this week with us. Enso Co-Living. He is in Barcelona, Spain right now. So I would love, let's start with the name. That's a unique name. Like, how'd you guys come up with that?
Well, we kind of found it by chance. We believe that we have to be a part in people's lives, and an important part at that. And Enso is actually a Japanese circle. It looks like our logo, but it's done with a pencil and ink. I mean, a pencil. How do you call this? A brush and ink?
Yes.
Exactly. Sorry, my accent's better than my English, so sorry for that. Yeah, and it's supposedly you have to do it when you're in a fulfillment point in life, and that's kind of where it came from. And I think it kind of represents our values and what we want, and so to be for the people that come live with us.
I love that. Yeah, you don't have an accent at all. So what's your background?
Well, my family's from the States, at least half of it, from Boston. So I've actually been living in Boston as well for a while, and yeah, that's kind of where the name comes from. Then I have my second last name, which is Martinez, which is very, very Spanish. And yeah, well, that
yeah,
happens.
because you go by your AKA is Sully. People call you Sully as a nickname.
Everyone except my mom. She's the only one that doesn't.
Okay, good to know. So I will call you that through the rest of the interview. That's awesome. What a cool nickname.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Yeah. So you are the co-founder. You're also the tech and innovation officer. So I would love to see and find out, like, what's your approach to change in like the real estate space? Like, where do you see it going?
Okay, so real estate space in general is something that is moving very, very slowly in innovation. We see things like artificial intelligence projects to detect pricings and kind of look at what's happening, and all this big data information kind of gets analyzed, and you can more or less know pricing of a house just by a couple of numbers of data, size, and some pictures. Um, but other than that, there's nothing really that's optimizing processes, and this is where I think the big change is going to come in the next few years. We're seeing already companies that are trying to change this. There's a lot of BMI that this is happening as well, which is super cool. I don't know if you've actually gotten time to look into it. If not, I recommend it. It's not a light read, but definitely an interesting one. And yeah, and that's what we're going to push from Enso as well. We think that's going to be a big technological component, especially to take time off for us in what we call gestión, which is basically management time of properties. Well, I mean, you have a property management software slash marketplace, right? So you know
Yes.
all about this. But yeah, so we're very, very interested in everything that's coming forward, all these blockchain things we can use as well. So we're at a point where we can pick and choose what we want and actually use it. So this is going to be a pretty intense next few years.
Awesome. And then what are some disruptors that you see in the future that's going to accelerate, the adoption of co-living and real estate as a service?
Okay, so I think real estate as a service is just going to happen. I think this is a change of mentality more in the people that are, well, these millennials and everyone that comes after them, or us, I should say. But, and we're going to adopt it because we like the flexibility. We're not looking to stay in a place forever. If somebody's going to buy a house, it's probably going to be more as an investment, because, I mean, at the end of the day, people like to be free and not be tied to a certain space. And especially we're looking at this tendency in millennials, or at least starting in millennials, where they just don't want to own a house. They just rather live in, let's say, in a way they can afford. And from there, I think that's just going to make a lot of sense for real estate as a service, right? Co-living is a part of this segment of real estate as a service. And I think it's going to be super amazing when these big companies, and hopefully the big companies that are smaller now but are coming through your show, we're going to have to give all these people a lot of facilitators. And what I mean for this is, if you pay a subscription, we're not talking about rent anymore. We're going to start talking about subscriptions. And when you pay a subscription, you can live in Barcelona. And the next day you're like, oh my God, I have to go to Madrid. Pick up your app, click a couple buttons, have a house in Madrid the next day, help with the move, help with everything. I think this is something that we definitely should look forward. So yeah, that's what I see for real estate as a service and co-living doing a big disruption, like being able to live anywhere and have the affordability behind it as well.
Awesome. And I want to go back to the blockchain because I always
Yeah.
geek out with my friends about it. I would
Mm-hmm.
love, okay, let's say you're explaining this to a 10-year-old, because I know some of our listeners, know what blockchain is, obviously. Maybe
Okay.
some don't. So explain it like you're talking to a 10-year-old about how this can be applied to real estate, the blockchain.
All right, so blockchain, the simplest way to define it is just a list. It's a ledger of information. The way this ledger is structured is in a chain of blocks. That's where the name comes from. So you have all the information, I have all the information, and we're going to validate any transaction that's done out of our three, for example, right? That being said, what we're going to use blockchain for, we're already seeing asset tokenization. That is something that is right around the corner. There's a couple of companies that started doing it, and this is great because you can own a part of a small investment. It democratize. You're going to need to help me
You're
with this
close.
word right now, Christine. Yeah, but you know
Like in
what
a
I mean, right?
democratic way?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
going to make real estate investment much more democratic because you can just buy a token. You don't need to buy the whole house. You can get 0.03 of a building, right? So that's going to make real estate investment affordable for everyone. Then you can trade it. So you don't have to sell the whole house. You just have to sell your small part. And that's going to be a great advance for this. I think it's going to let everyone be able to invest in real estate, even if it's small amounts. All right. And that's going to bring the market up, and which is great for everyone. Then we can also use it for creating payment system inside our communities. All right. So since we sell memberships and services and through the app, you just kind of are going to be hiring, I'm guessing, services like more cleaning or I don't know, a move if you were going to change from Madrid to Barcelona or vice versa, right? And yeah, I'll hire the move as well. So instead of paying with real money, what we can do is get these people, our users, to buy our tokens, basically, right? And now you have something that not only they can have, but they can control, and it's a great system because I mean, I'm trying to see how to bring it down to the easiest way, but it's kind of like think about it like Bitcoin or the way you pay in festivals, right? You buy a fake currency. It's not fake currency, but the Enso coin, let's say.
Yeah.
And with that, you're going to do all your transactions inside the community. So it's just going to be really comfortable for this. You're not going to have to use credit cards or anything. You can just kind of hide your information behind your wallet, and that's a great way, I think, to do transactions. And it's just going to adopt more and more as we are already seeing with prices of Bitcoin going through the roof, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So again, everybody listening, Bitcoin, that's one coin. It's the most popular
Mm-hmm.
coin. It's the one that's really blowing up. But you guys would have your own token, your own coin that they can
Exactly.
purchase, which wouldn't be that as much as a Bitcoin, but still, and then
Exactly.
they can, okay, as a currency, which is rad because it's so complicated. That's why I'm excited for the future. When you're changing currencies, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
using US dollar, but I move to Europe and then I go to the UK and it's like I'm doing
Exactly.
like three separate conversions.
Mm-hmm.
That is super cool. I love that you did such a great job, Sully, of explaining it. You did better than I
I
did.
tried my best. I tried my best. There's some words that slipped there and here, but well.
That's okay. It's a complicated, even in one language, it's complicated to explain. So translating it is even harder. Okay, now I want to dive in. So you guys raised funding. You raised like
Yep,
700,000. Like how quickly
exactly.
did you guys, and how many different investors?
Okay, so it was super quick. The idea we had at the beginning was to raise much less money. We were thinking about raising 350,000, um, and we went to overfunding in less than 4 days. So we did this through a crowd equity platform
Mm,
called Dozen Investments. It's a Spanish crowd equity platform. When we did it, it was called something different, but I'm just going to call it by the name they have now. They just switched names last week or the week before. Um, and then there we raised 600K, and the other 100 and some we raised from three different investors, big property owners. So it's more like smart money. We just wanted small tickets from investors that had a lot of properties, basically. So yeah, they're actually interested in the Series A, not. But we had to convince them, right? We had to convince them, yeah, please put it now and we'll start doing things with your properties. And so far, so good. I can't really say names until the signatures are all done. But I'm sure somebody, if you can research it in a couple of weeks, you'll find us for sure.
nice. So that was a seed, obviously. And so when are you guys gearing up for your A?
Okay, so this is something that if we can avoid, we will definitely avoid
Mm,
because and you know this as well, and probably everyone that's listening knows this, it's a very capital intensive business. So um, if you keep raising, you're just going to get fully diluted very, very, very soon. And that's not the idea, right? When you're starting a company and have the idea of growing it to make it something big at some point. So saying that, I'm guessing if we can go through bank financing and stuff like that, it's probably going to be a preference for us.
mhm.
If we raise a Series A, it will happen in a year and a half.
Okay. No, that's amazing though. You're very smart about that. I think that last few years, raising capital and our Series A and our B, it just became so trendy. But if you
Yeah.
talk to those founders that took the exit after all that, I mean,
Hmm.
they had like one person. They were so diluted down to like barely anything. So like, what
Yeah.
was the point?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly,
The
exactly.
Yeah. Are you guys doing master leases, or how do you guys have that set up right now?
Okay, so we have right now we have two models that we use. So we use the what we call the traditional rent. So we find opportunities that have really really low rents. We then go in, uh, put a coat of paint and a little bit more probably, right, and put it to our standards basically. All right, we have. We're very crazy about our standards. We want our user to be comfortable, but also be in a place that has a certain level of design and homeness feeling. Hominess
Like a
feeling?
homey, yeah, homey
Yeah,
feeling.
homey feeling. Yeah, exactly. So I forgot your question. Sorry, it's very
Yeah, no,
busy.
it's okay. The two different, you guys are doing two different. You're doing like a master
Yeah,
lease, so where you're
the
taking it
model.
over and you guys are doing some upgrades, and then the other one,
Exactly. Yeah. And then this is just, I don't know this word in English. It's gestión in Spanish, management. You're just
management, like
property
a management
management.
fee. Yeah.
Exactly. We'll go straight on commission. It is true that our commissions are a little bit above market, but it is also true we get much higher yields. So I think I think now, right now we're getting much better interest rates for our property owners that we manage their properties than most other, let's say, classical models, right? If they're going to rent to families or anything like that, we just get higher yields and we reduce the risks as well, right? Because if you rent to a family and that family leaves, you're probably going to have an empty apartment for 2, 3, 4 months. Here in the center of Barcelona, it's around 2 months, but if you go a little outside, it's probably 6. Um, when you're doing this co-living format, it's not going to say impossible that the whole apartment leaves at the same time, but it's pretty unlikely.
Okay.
And if somebody leaves, they have to tell you with certain timing in advance. And in that time, I'm probably going to find someone that's going to go into that room. So the occupation is never going to be 0. It's always going to be probably above 75, even in the worst case scenario, which is really good if you're thinking about what the yield is going to be at the end of the year with your properties and having the risk of a family leaving. I wouldn't take it anymore, having the option of not having to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And here in the States, for just regular property management, it's usually about a 10% fee for
Mm-hmm.
management. What is it in Spain or in
So
your
I
area?
think the average market goes from what you said, from 8 to 15% in the highest corners in the world, and we're doing 20%.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, we're
That's
doing
awesome.
20%. Yeah, and still being able to give the property owners what they want. So it's really good. So it's really good. We're being able, since we give really good service to our users, at least that's the feedback we're getting. They're willing to pay above market price, and that's kind of what we leverage to get this 20%.
And are you guys still coming in and doing some upgrades like fresh paint or anything like that, or no?
Okay, so in the fixed model, let's say master lease, yes, yeah, we go in if we have a contract of 7 to 15 years. That's what we're trying to close right now.
Oh,
Yeah, and then we'll go in. We'll be able to make our investment back. So we'll put. It depends on how much it needs, right? But we'll
yeah.
put anywhere from 0 to 30, 40,000 into this. If not, we won't have a time contract, so we won't be tied for more than a few months, basically, with this 20% commission variable, what we call it. So, what we do here is basically say, okay, since this is your property, we're not going to put any investment. All the investment should come
Mm.
from the property owner. We'll advise them during the whole process. So if the place needs to be completely renovated, we'll bring the whole team in, make sure it's built in the best way for co-living. So if we have to put an extra bathroom, so there is a bathroom per room, or if we have to do, if there's places there where 5 rooms and we decided to take a room out to have a bigger common area, right? That's what co-living is all about, sharing all these common areas and making life similar between the people that live in our community. So yeah, I mean, we'll help them through the whole process, but all the capex comes from them in this variable model. But again,
Do
they're
they?
not tied to anything. So
Yeah. Do they furnish it or you do in that model?
Yeah, so they'll pay for it and we'll furnish it. So we'll choose
Oh,
everything. Yeah, since we
cool.
have this standards we have to, or we're obsessed with, we'll be the ones that tell them what to buy, and we'll probably do the whole project for them as well. So they'll just basically uh, give us the okay, sign a contract, and then we'll do the whole thing until it's ready and rent it out.
Awesome. And then I know you guys kind of started with the concept 2019. You officially launched July of 2020. How many
Hmm.
beds total do you guys already have?
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit more about the story and end up with the beds if
Yeah,
you will judge me.
of course.
So we had the idea in 2018 by chance. We were thinking of doing Airbnb and decided that it was too much management time. And we found co-living. We loved the concept, started 2 MVPs, and worked that for a year, kind of getting the model right and seeing how can we make this to scale, basically. Because, well, not to scale, it's to replicate. It's a replicatable model, not a scalable one. And that's why software is so good, right? But how can we do this in a replicable way that is very cash efficient? And that's what we worked for a year. In 2019 December, we started Enso, so we founded the company, Clara, Michael, and myself, which are we're the three founders. And right when we did that, we raised a little capital as well, just to get our first properties. Um, but COVID happened, so we couldn't really start until lockdown ended here in Spain, it was June. And from June to 2 or 3 months, we got, I don't know, our first 20 beds. Um, Spent all our money on those 20 beds, so we kind of couldn't grew. Started with this variable model, got another 10, so we were in 30, and right now we have 50 of those 35 are already rented, and the rest of them are in pipeline, either getting ready to be rented or basically getting the keys now. Our objective, though, for this year is going to be to finish the year with 400 to 450 rooms. So that's what we're going for, at least.
I love it. So you said right now you guys have 50, but 35 of the 50 beds are full right now,
Yeah.
are occupied. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're fully occupied because the 35 we have right now occupied are the ones that are available. The other ones
Oh,
are either we're finishing painting or whatever, right? They're not ready to rent yet, but they will be in the next month. And well, we'll still keep putting properties in the pipeline. Today, I think we closed another 20 something rooms, and basically the whole building, a very small building here in Barcelona, but a really cool one. Um, yeah, and we'll just kind of keep going and doing this.
I love that. And then, yeah, definitely. I've been to Barcelona. I love it. So are
It's a
all
great
your,
city.
yeah, it's amazing. Madrid is cool too.
Yeah.
Are you guys, two questions, like how
Hmm.
many build separate houses or buildings does that portfolio run? How many do you have under management? And
Hmm.
then second question, are you only in Barcelona as of now?
Yeah. So we are only in Barcelona as we're having this conversation, although we are almost to the close of 10 apartments in Madrid, which would be 40 rooms. So it's 10 4-room apartments in Madrid. And we're very, very close to closing that. Apart from that, we are only in Barcelona for the moment. We started here because it's the most complicated city in Spain. So the concept behind this is if we can do it here, you can do it anywhere. It's kind of what they say about New York, right? If you can make it
Yeah.
here, yeah. And that's how what we thought about Barcelona. A part of being, I think it's I think the eighth most desirable city in the world, and it has the coolest neighborhood in the world, which is the Champla, right? So for us, it made a lot of sense. I think once all this COVID deal gets a little more relaxed, we'll see all the demand grow to the point it was before, which was crazy level of demand. And yeah, we're really looking forward to this second stage of Enso for sure.
Love it. That's amazing. Cool. And then what's your guys' demographic thus far? Like male, female, what ages?
So we're actually very, very lucky at this. We've actually got a very leveled playing field. At the beginning, we had a lot of people that were from outside of Spain. So it's mostly foreigners or expats, sorry. Now, after COVID, obviously there's not that much movement, and we have 50% local clients, 50% international clients. Actually, it's 54 local, but well, who that's just. And yeah, and in I would have to ask gender wise, but I'm pretty sure it's quite level as well because we have three of the places that are exclusively for women. It just kind of happened.
Oh.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. Groups of friends just came and are like, "Hey, we want to be us three together." And just like, okay, let's go for it. And in the house that have mixes, there might be a little more male and female. But if I had to bet, and these numbers are at the top of my head, not really telling the truth, but I'll say it's a 60-40
Okay, no,
male
that's good.
female.
It's a
Yeah.
good estimate there. Awesome. And then do you live at any of the locations yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, yes. So we recently got co-living for the founding team and I'm going to call the extended founding team, so the first members, because we believe that living it is the best way of knowing what works and what doesn't. One question you asked before that I didn't answer, it was what is our client right now? And our client is between 25 and 35-year-olds, all right? Which is a great target for us. I think it's great because we are basically in that age range. We are in our price range, and it gives us a lot of insight, as I was going back to the previous part, of what we like and what works in a co-living space, right? Maybe we thought a weekly cleaning was good, but maybe it's not enough. And now we realize this. Maybe we had these water fountains with bottled water because Barcelona water is not the best. So we provide bottled water to everyone, one of those like fountain things.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed this by living together that we might be ordering less water. So now we're going to do all these changes. And we got this amazing place. We'll start showing videos of it at some point. So right now I can't really show anything, but it dubs. It works as well as our office, our storage space is this giant apartment, which is as big as a mansion. It has its own chapel and everything. It's super cool. Next time you're in Barcelona, you're welcome to come by and we'll show you around for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. When does that one open up?
So this one's already open. I'm here right now,
Oh,
actually.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
would you like a tour?
I know, right? Yeah, through the video?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I think I can switch cameras. I don't know. Let me
super.
check.
Yeah. Oh, you're
But
on your
yeah,
laptop?
yeah, I have one of these Surface things, so I think I should be able to
Yeah,
show you
let's try
around.
it.
But look, yeah. So this is and you're gonna see people living here, which is great too. So guys, say hello. You're not on live TV, all right? But here you have a huge living room with like 3
Oh.
spaces, which is pretty awesome place. The kitchen's like over there, but it's great and equipped for 6 people, which are the ones that are living here. The chapel, in case we kind of have to pray at some point, is like, yeah, Sunday prayers are very accessible here, which is
Okay,
good.
okay. You're
Yeah,
the
and a
first
lot of
co-living ever that has a chapel inside of it.
right, right. Yeah, and like we have the game rooms with I don't know if you know what this game
Foosball.
is.
Yeah,
There
foosball.
you go. Yeah, so we have it here as well. And the rest of the rooms I can't show you right now because I know there's people in there.
That's
And
okay.
but yeah, I'll send you the link so you can see the video at some point for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys already film like an actual video of the place? Is it on YouTube?
No, no,
Oh, not
no,
yet.
not yet, not yet, no yet. We're
Yeah.
actually thinking of doing a blog, but don't tell anyone yet.
Okay. We won't
Not
tell
just kidding.
anybody, just all the listeners and viewers of the Co-Living Code Show. That's amazing. I love that. And then I forgot to ask you, Sully, what's the average stay? Like, do you guys offer nightly, weekly, monthly? Like, what's your minimum stay?
Okay, so here in Spain, regulation doesn't let us do under 31 years without a special license. 31 years? No,
31
days,
days.
sorry.
Okay.
Yes, 31 years. That's almost like having a son. Yeah. No, 31 days. So we try not to go very much into this under 31 days. And our average stay right now is almost 9 months. So it's really good. It's a good turnover. We have clients that have been with us since our MVP, so almost 2 years. And then people that stay here for a month. But yeah, that's our average stay is a little under 9 months right now, which is
Eh,
very
Yeah.
good.
And you guys said the extended like founding team, all co-lives.
Hmm.
Are you guys all in the same co-living location?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Impressive.
Exactly. So if somebody hates each other, it's
If
going
you
to
get a
be
fight.
super interesting. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then, what kind of events? And again, I know in a COVID world right now, events might be kind of interesting, but let's say, what kind of events, if you're offering any right now, and then let's say COVID was not a thing anymore, what kind of
Hmm.
events are you guys going to do in the future?
Okay. So events is a great part of the co-living, as we all know. It's where people kind of get to meet and do actual fun stuff. Right now with COVID, we cut events to basically zero. We did do a couple outdoor events like go paddle surfing and stuff, the community during the summer. But now during the winter, limitations are very, very strict here in Spain, and we just don't want to risk it. And we're not doing any so far offline. Starting, I think, next week, we're going to start doing a language exchange program online between the people in our community, and there is a lot of interest in doing it, so that's really cool. And also cultural visits through the city, so that we
Ooh,
can do as well in small groups. And that's something that we want to offer as well for our international clients that are here for some time, and at least get somebody that knows the city very well to let them explore and let them show them where the best places are. And I think that's going to be very, very useful and good for them as well. Once this is over, I think we were going to do a couple parties because it's worth celebrating that this is
yes.
over. That's going to happen for sure. Cultural events are going to still happening. All these language exchange, those should be, I think, basic, especially when you're talking with international people. That's something they probably want. They want to learn their local language, and a lot of local people want to learn the languages of the people that are coming over here. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. But then we're going to do a lot of sporting events. Since we have partnerships with gyms and stuff like that, we have access to a lot of more spaces as well to do all these activities. But I'm going to let the person that's in charge about this. We just hired a new community builder that's looking forward to set up all this project, and I'm going to let him think about this, because if I think about it, it's probably going to be very geeky, and we're all going to be playing esports for the rest of our lives.
Talk
Although
about,
it is
yeah.
fun.
Oh, for sure.
uh,
Esports and talking about Bitcoin and
mm-hmm.
blockchain and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Those type of events. We do those dork events here, so don't even worry about it
Mm-hmm.
in our house. And what about the smaller, like in our home, we just did
Mm-hmm.
this real fun. We're doing fun stuff because there's only six of us in a
Okay.
big house and we're
Yep.
considered a household. So obviously
Yeah.
we could have fun and we could do really cool things. And
Of course.
we did this great, one of our newest housemates, he's Russian, and so
Mm-hmm.
it was Blene, which is a once a year event. It's a dinner, fancy, fancy dinner party. We all dressed
Okay.
up. The guys wore suits and some were in tuxes, and the girls all wore evening gowns. And so, yeah, we did that this past Saturday, which was really fun. So we're
I
just trying to
bet.
get so creative. We never dressed up like that before as a group, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's we're getting creative these days. We're like, what else can we do?
Don't mind if I copy your idea, actually. I'm already
Oh,
dressed up, so I
there
just
we
get these
go.
guys to get some beers.
Yeah, there you go. No, it was a blast. It was a blast. So the for you guys, again, you have some that are like smaller household. They're all living together.
Yep.
So do some of them just do like their own dinner parties or some other cool like group types of events?
Yeah, I mean, we have these two levels of community, right? We have our what we call micro community, which is the people that live in the same apartment, and the macro community is the people that are living around the world. I mean, around the world, around the city.
Yeah.
So to put them all together, we're going to develop this space called the Co-Play. It's you're going to love to hear about this, but you're going to have to invite me again because it's
Is
a
it a
secret.
secret?
Secret,
Oh,
great secret. Sorry, sorry. Now, once the project's finalized or at least greenlit, I'm going to be able to talk a lot about it. But until then, I just don't want to get everyone's hopes up and then not being able to do it. So yeah, these events, they've been doing dinners. We know they've been doing dinners. We've actually kind of encouraged them to exactly exchange, live the life together. That's the beauty of this, right? Being able to share with people that are like-minded to you is, I'm going to say, a privilege, right? Because right now rental is, you get the room you get, and the people that are living there might be great or might not be a great match, and
Yeah.
we make sure the people you live is a great match. All right, interests are usually similar, age range is usually similar as well. So yeah, I mean, we know the internal communities are actually, the micro communities are actually very tight. There's usually no problems, and I know they don't tell us about the parties they do, but I know for a fact they do parties.
Do you think they invite a few outside people in too, or is it
uh,
just the how like
I
how
mean,
strict are they?
I hope they do, and that the people that they invite cordially reject the invitation, right? Because right now, in Spain, they're very serious about this, and we wouldn't like anyone to be liable for something if something would have happened. Um, that being said, I mean, we're going to be all about encouraging people having fun and being able to enjoy the time with the people around them.
Got it. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then let's see, what are some of your favorite co-living brands anywhere in the world? What is a couple that you like?
I have to say yours for starters, right?
No, you don't. Yeah, ours is fun. Ours is so unique though. But
It
thank
is.
you.
It is. No, I love it. I love it. And we've been following since the first time we spoke a couple of months back, and we really do. So I really like the collective, although they have a different approach that we have. I think they're doing a great thing for what co-living means in the world, right? Specializing obviously in mammoth buildings and stuff like that. But I think it's really cool. I think their services are great. I think their spaces are awesome, and the way they show them is very correct for what their target is. And I really see the value in what they're doing, and we have them kind of as a role model for certain things. If we have to go a little bit smaller, but still in the big league, and my favorite, I think, should be then the student hotel.
Ah,
I think the student
that's where
hotel
I lived.
is
Yeah.
insane. I think they do super cool events, super good job trying to encourage the community to be involved and stuff like that. And it's a superb job. I actually was looking for a job at the student hotel a couple months before I started Enso. So, yeah, I applied, wasn't lucky enough. So I
Which one
started
were
my
you
own.
looking? Yeah, which locations were you looking at? I know they have a couple new ones now.
Yeah, exactly. So they were starting to give a big push for Spain, and it was a position that was pretty cross in the whole country here in Spain. So it was for Spain. I just really like the weather here.
Yeah, of course. But have you visited the ones in Amsterdam? Have you been to those?
I have not. I have not, but I've seen a lot of it. I've seen a lot of it, especially at the beginning when we were thinking about this concept, all these events they were doing, all these things. We really looked into what they were doing, how they decorate their spaces, what's because they really bring their brand into their spaces, which is something that not
Mhm.
everyone succeeds. And they did it in a way that they didn't have to brand everything that, which would just be annoying, right? So yeah, I think I really, well, I think, no, I know I really like the student hotel. I would stay at the student hotel if I had to.
Yeah, and I know I've shared it a while back. I've probably shared this story a couple of times, but I lived there for 3 months, the Amsterdam location,
Uh huh.
Amsterdam West, and I came home late one night from work, and I walk in the lobby, and there's literally like a 21-year-old playing ping pong with like some guy probably in his late 60s, and it was so cool to see like all these different ages living there and interacting, and that was super cool. And Charlie needs to come back on the show if he's listening or watching. I've been reaching out because they're expanding so quickly.
Yeah,
So because
they're
they
growing
hadn't
like
opened the other
crazy.
locations yet. They were on like the pipeline, but I need to get them
Mm-hmm.
on to give us some really big update, a lot of updates
Yeah,
actually. So we'll bring them
yeah.
back on. It's been a while.
Please do. I want to hear some new stuff from the student hotel.
For sure. That's a great one. Awesome. And then, and this is a question I've started asking every week to each person is, oh, sorry, backing up really quick
Yeah,
on the
of course.
collective. And just last week, on last week's interview, you guys can hear about this. I'm not making it up, but
Right.
the collective actually during like by Valentine's Day, around Valentine's Day, they had all the residents write kindness letters to each other. Like, how rad is that, right? So you don't have to go in person. You can just slip it under the door, however they did it. But
That's a pretty good idea. I must
yeah,
admit that's pretty genius
it's
because
very,
it's a very small thing and probably create a great impact in their community. So yeah, I mean, genius. Whoever thought about that in the collective, congratulations. You're listening to this. Keep
yes.
doing what you're doing.
Oh God, they have killer events. I always go to their event
Yeah.
page every once in a while just to see like what, and even when COVID started, they had some really
Hmm.
cool like talks and events and, online, which was impressive. So let's see, this question I'm asking every week now, are there any needs currently, and so needs like whether it's, additional fundraising from investors, is it, property you guys are still looking for in certain areas,
Hmm.
team members you need to hire. So let's hear it.
Yeah. So I think, except funding, that we're not looking for any funding right now because we just basically closed it, and I think we have a good runway of a year and a half right now. We are looking for more properties. Always, we are right now limited to Madrid, Barcelona. But if anyone out there does business in Madrid and Barcelona, we're welcome to hear from you. And we are also looking to hire new people. We're extending team. As I told you, we recently hired a community builder, which is going to be in charge of creating this awesome community and actually giving it a lot more time than we've had because we've had a lot of things to do at the same time. So we want to do focus on our community members. Then we also finished hiring a growth director. Since we're going to grow to 450 beds this year, we're going to have to get on with our marketing. And we actually, I'm not going to say who it is yet, but he's a 30 under 30 Forbes person that we hired. So super cool on that as well. And we are looking for an operations manager right now.
Mm.
We'll put the product description on LinkedIn. Probably by the time this episode airs, it's going to be on our LinkedIn page. So, yeah, I don't
They
know
can
if I'm
check
allowed
that.
to say that, but yeah, check it
Yeah,
out.
of course you
Links
can.
in the
Of course.
description.
Lots of cool people are listening to that. You never know who's watching or listening to the show. And yeah, people have gotten hired from the show.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. And investors. We've had investors from other countries connect with operators for funding, which is super cool.
That is
Um,
super cool. Super
yes.
cool that you're a part of it as well, right? I mean, it has to feel pretty good.
No, it does. Yeah, because actually I was in the country and actually he was from Spain and I was in
Hmm.
Oslo and yeah, he came up to me and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm here because of your show and we're looking at the property to invest in." I was like, "Whoa, that's amazing." I was so excited to
That's
hear
so
that.
crazy.
So going to the property, back to the
Hmm.
properties you guys are looking for in Madrid or Barcelona, what's like your ideal? Like, okay, something that we can turn into 10 beds, 20 beds.
Yeah. So we believe micro communities should stay small. It's just going to create less friction between the people that live in it at the end of the day. And we like apartments that are between 4 and 6 beds. If we can have the same number of bathrooms as beds, that's the ideal, but the minimum is one per every 2 beds. Um, that being said, we like it either in apartment model or whole building complexes that we like as well. Right now, we're actually focusing as well on these whole buildings because I mean we just have to get volume right, uh, and this is the best way to do it. Although we're not losing focus of the apartments either, because that's how you grow fast. That's how you. I mean, from the time I sign a contract to the apartment's rented is less than 20 days. So yeah, we do this really really fast. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. If anyone that's listening knows or wants to know a little bit more, please get in touch with me.
Awesome. Cool. And then my last question for you is where do you see
Hmm.
co-living in 10 years as an industry?
As an industry, whew, that's a good question. I think I don't know what I think. There's a couple things here, right? I think we might change the name at some point. We're not going to call it co-living at some point. I think this might happen. This is the fear of the co, right? At some point, there's still people that, well, through either the WeWork catastrophe and the what's happening in other co-livings, there's going to be a fear of the co. There's going to be a fear of the co at some point. This is a weird bet, but I think it will happen. But I think it's going to keep growing. This is not something that we really invented. This is not something new. People are doing room rentals years and years and years and years ago, much before the word even was invented, right? And what we did is kind of change the model, made it more attractive for both parties, right? The owners and the users. I think this is just going to keep going and keep growing. It will probably take a big part of the rental air space inside the real estate industry, right? It's going to be a bigger part of the rental because, I mean, co-housing is also ramping up its velocity. And for me, it's just the same thing. That the only difference is the common areas are not in the same apartment, they're in the same building. So yeah, I think it's just going to keep growing. It's going to adapt. It's going to take this co-housing, this senior residences, all these different things, and it's going to transform into that. And the market right now is expected by 2025 to be for around 14 billion. It wouldn't surprise me if in year 10 we double that.
Yeah, no, wouldn't surprise me either one bit. And yeah, I think you're right. Co-working kind of got a bad rap. I mean, I always say the co stands for community. Like when people ask, like co-living, what does that even mean? I'm like, co means community to me. Like that's community living. You could call it's just short for community living.
I like that much better than everything I've heard until now. I'm actually going to take that too.
Please take it. I've been saying that for years.
So much. I'm learning so much.
I know I'm supposed to be interviewing you, not talking during the interview. Yeah. So no, I definitely because some people say there's a bunch of strangers living together and they never talk and they never eat dinner together and they're like, oh, I have a co-living. I'm like, that's not co-living. That's just housemates or roommates or whatever you want to call it. So you
have to get these people talking to each other, doing things with each other, having fun, enjoying life, and that's just going to be better for everyone. That's the pace to a better world. Happy people leads to a better world.
No, and it's almost like this positive peer pressure. And it's been going on in our house a lot lately. Again, Sarek, who's Russian, he just moved in. He coordinated this whole amazing dinner party, and he's only been here for like 2 months. And then he decorated his room. Like it is gorgeous. Like all the guys, myself included. I mean, the way he did his room, it's like we're all jealous.
Super cool.
I'm like how he decorated it. And then now, all the guys got bicycles, road bikes. So now they're riding, bikes around the beach and, here in San Diego, it's gorgeous. Sorry, it's February and it's gorgeous. We're riding bicycles out. And then I finally just picked one up myself because I feel left out. So again, it's positive peer pressure. We're getting in shape, we're getting outside. It's COVID. So we got to get creative.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it.
Awesome. Okay, Sully, well, this was an awesome interview. Yes, I will come visit you guys. When I'm back in Spain. I really need to travel again. I didn't travel at all in 2020. So now I'm really I really need to do so. So awesome. Well, thanks again.
Well, Thank you for having me and for letting me, like they say in Spain, vender mi libro, just talk about my book. And I hope we can talk to each other again not too far from now.
For sure. Sounds good. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. And thank everyone for seeing.
Thank you so much for checking out this week's episode. And keep in mind, we are on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And also, if you are a co-living community, you can reach out to us to be listed on the Kndrd platform. That's Kndrd Kndrd.io. It's a great way to showcase pictures, videos, virtual tours of your community. Also, we have a link in the show notes for our 3 books on co-living. You can also find one of them on Amazon.com if you'd like the print version. And lastly, a very quick shout out to our partners over at ISL Furnishings. They bring light to your vision and already work with some of the larger companies like Star City and Quarters. See you guys next week.